Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Le Cordon Bleu. And I can see some familiar faces and some not. Welcome to our Diploma in Plant-Based Culinary Arts Pâtisserie program. And this is our new program that we have launched recently, that the new intake will start in January 2025, that we expanded the program that we have existing, that is Diploma in Plant-Based Culinary Arts, into two different elements, from cuisine and patisserie, because we have a lot of students who have positive feedbacks that they want to learn more about the plant-based program that we have here at Le Cordon Bleu. There's a lot of trend right now for a plant-based desserts, especially that you have to have looking at substitution of not eggs, alternative of eggs or dairies, etc. All right. What we're going to do today is we have John Francois, who will do a demonstration, a plant-based desserts. Then after that, what we're going to do, we're going to invite Chef Julie, the head patisserie chef here at Le Cordon Bleu. We'll take any questions from the floor and also from our social media that we live stream right now. To take any questions that you have pertaining to the course, maybe some desserts or some questions that you're pertaining about the program itself. Then after that, we're going to taste some desserts that Jean-Francois will do it today as well. And if you like, after the program, if you would like to have a chat with the chef, you're welcome to. And if you have not been to the Institute before, at the end of the program, I will do a tour. If you want to come and see the kitchen, the pastry kitchen, we also have the cuisine kitchen as well. And we walk through you down, then we call it a day after that. But I'm sure some of you have been to the Institute, so that you can go down, and I hope you enjoy your day today. All right, without further ado, let's welcome Jean-Francois to do the demonstration.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, can you hear me nicely? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Alors, I'm Chef Jean-François Favy. I'm chef deputy here in London since it's nearly 2 years now. Nearly 2 years. Yeah, time's flies. Before this, I've been chef in Japan for 6 years. In Korea, China for Cordon Bleu. So, well, I've been a long time with Cordon Bleu, and I'm very pleased to welcome you today for this demonstration. It's a small demonstration. It's a mini demo. It's just to give you an insight about what is a demo at Cordon Bleu. And also, voilà, we have a nice recipe today about plant-based. So I like this recipe because it's mainly vegetable. So it's a little bit pastry and cuisine, even if you are here for mainly a pastry. And it's also something which reminds me my childhood, because the rice pudding, like we are going to see today, was one of my favorite child desserts. So quick introduction about Freddy already introduced this program, but yeah, this program basically gonna be 370 hours, okay, during 12 weeks. There will be basically covering a fundamental technique in pastry, like alternative dairy, bakery, chocolate confectionery, classic pastry with the puff pastry and sweet pastry. Also plated dessert, frozen dessert, and at the end more contemporary entremet, I will say modern and classic entremet. There will be a mini exam during this at the end, mini assessment, as always in Cordon Bleu. Basically, there will be 4 dishes, potential exam dishes, and you will get one of them for your final assessment. And let's start. If you want to please to have a look at your recipe today, please do not hesitate to ask me any question to me or my team today. We'll be happy to answer you. Okay, so the recipe today. So there we already prepared a few things, because you know, this recipe can take, let's say, 2 hours. So I already prepared a few elements, and but I'm going to details everything. We are going to start by the rice, okay? Cooking the rice. So basically, the recipe is for two plated dessert, okay? This amount of recipe for 2 plated dessert. It can be a little bit more depending of the portion you want to serve for your guests. But today we got 62 grams of. Alors, it's quite precise, and it's pastry. Voilà, it's 62 grams of. I'm not sure it's 62 exactly on your recipe. Normally it's to be around 60 grams of rice. Okay. For the rice is there. I'm going to wash my rice first. So it's arborio rice. It's a round rice, appropriate for sweet. Usually, I used to rinse my rice 3 times, just in case of bacteria, cold water. Okay. During this time, you start to infuse your liquid. So we are going to bake to cook this rice with rice milk. So during this time, you infuse your rice milk in a big pan. We have a little bit spices with it. So today, fennel and vanilla. So you scrape your vanilla, you infuse your vanilla into the liquid, you add your pinch of fennel inside, and you boil the liquid. Okay. There's 2 more elements in this rice pudding, which is coconut cream. It's gonna be later at the end, and beetroot powder, freeze-dried beetroot powder. So basically, it's you freeze, deep freezing your product, and you crush it in powder. Deep fry, there's a different process, but this one is just freeze-dry powder. So deep freezing, and then crush into powder. Okay, so today it's beetroot freeze-dried powder in this recipe. You can imagine to do something else different.
So I'm guessing, Chef, if we can't get beetroot powder,
Yes.
we could substitute some of the milk with beetroot juice, right?
Eventually, yes. Eventually, yes. You can infuse eventually. Yeah. I didn't introduce you, Chef Julie. Sorry. Did you? You do? Ah, sorry. Voilà, Chef Julie or head chef here at school, which can eventually and will answer your question too. Okay, so the milk is getting warm. The rice is ready. During this time, we can organize the confit. So the part of this cake is basically a rice pudding at the base. Okay, then after we got a puff rice, caramelized puff rice for the top layer to give you a little bit crunchiness, and there will be a gel or a confit, so something a little bit more thick texture, piped on the top of fennel confit, and we decorate with the beetroot, baby beetroot for the decoration, and we are going to add the beetroot, cooked beetroot, also into the rice. So during the process of the milk, here I'm going to prepare the fennel confit. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to demonstrate only one because I already prepared. But normally in a recipe, you need 6 baby fennel bulb like this. Why a baby one? Good question. Just it takes more time. No, it's a little bit more sweet. Let's say a little bit more sweet than the big one. So we are using this one today. So you wash it. Okay, just wash your vegetable. Go. Then we are going to prepare a chopping board. We are going to trim the top, trim the bottom. Here we go. Eventually, we can keep a few front for infusion later, and also eventually for decoration. Okay. Okay. And here, we are just going to cut in half your fennel. Okay. Remove the germ in the center. So just a little green part in the center, the germ. Yeah, the germ. But first, it's not very. I would say healthy, hard, and voila. You can eventually get stomach pain with this, with the germ. So usually, we remove it. The milk. The milk is boiling, so you add your rice into it, and you cook your rice, steaming gently cooking. Classic rice cooking. Huh? Yeah. So we prefer to remove today. For the rice, you leave it to cook, normal cooking. Basically, you absorb the moisture. It's gonna take a little bit time. That's why I already prepared one rice for today. Just voila, you confirm the cooking. You cook your rice. There will be nearly no moisture inside. You can try to check the softness of your rice eventually. And at the end, when you see nearly no moisture, it's a slow cooking. Huh? You don't want your rice to get brown to overcook your rice. Huh? You cook it slowly. And at the end, when your rice is cooked, you just add the coconut cream, so a little bit more sweetness inside, I would say, and the beetroot powder to give a beautiful color to your rice. Don't cook the beetroot powder because you lose the color. Huh? If you cook the beetroot powder, you're going to lose the powder. So just add it at the end, like this. So I just prepare the rice like this. So you cook your rice. It's going to take some time. Huh? It takes more than 20 minutes maybe for me, so that's why I prepared. You cook your rice. You control the cooking. You add your coconut cream. You add your beetroot powder. You mix it well, and you leave it at room temperature for the service. Okay? That's your rice ready. So next is the preparation of the confit. Okay? So just basically you cut in half. You remove the jam, okay, and you make a syrup. You make a syrup with water, so basic syrup, water, sugar, and I'm going to add the fennel fronds too, a little bit for an infusion, like this, okay. There's a little amount of brown rice into the recipe too. So it's a gently, we are going basically to cook the vegetable into a syrup, gently simmering cooking. So number one, you infuse everything. You got your baby fennel. Like I said for me today, I'm a little bit cheating. I'm not cheating because prepared, but just to be faster, I've got only one today, just to show you. Okay, you leave it simmering gently. We usually add a small cartouche on the top, or a small cartouche. It's just a pepper on the top to keep the moisture during the cooking. Okay, so I'm going to do the cartouche a little bit faster. Okay, but just basically a cartouche. It's a round pepper piece which goes over the top to keep the moisture. Like this. Mine is complicated. I used to say it's complicated cartouche. It's a pâtisserie cartouche. We got my students here. They know that I make a complicated cartouche. Basically, just a piece of pepper. Just cut a round piece of pepper to fit on the top and that's it. Mine is complicated because I use this cartouche also for the tart. You know, when I line a tart, and eventually when you want to hold the shape of your tart, you want to add a stone inside. You want the crust to not be moving during the baking. So I do this kind of cartouche too, which is just basically a round paper. But I love origami, so I like complicated things. So there's a small hole in the center to remove little moisture, but not too much. Voila. Here we go. My cartouche. Tac. See, it's a complicated one, huh? Complicated. You leave your cartouche on the top. That's a big one for this pan. So basically, like this. The size is a little bit big. Like, and you leave it like this. Alors, you cook it to get until your fennel gets soft and tender. Okay. So you're gonna check the cooking. It's simmering. So let's say 70 degrees. Okay. Very slow cooking. And you control the cooking eventually with a pointed knife like this, and eventually you check the cooking of your fennel until it gets nicely soft and tender. So I've got one already which has been done, bigger quantity. Okay, so after cooking, ideally you leave it to cool down into the syrup. Well, there's a lovely flavor coming out from the baby fennel. Well, it's nice cooking and soft. You leave it to cool down into the syrup. You strain it. You keep the juice because the juice you are going to keep the juice to adjust the texture later. So you keep your juice. Go. Then we are going to bleed this to make like a mashed potato with this this fennel, cooked fennel. There we go. So I got a blender, I got a Bamix, it can be a different machine, different type of blender. So, it's a small amount. Actually, the recipe is quite accurate. So the amount of confit is just enough to make a two-plated dessert. So I recommend you eventually to do a little bit more and eventually to keep the confit for another preparation. This kind of confit can fit nicely red fruit, raspberry, eventually for different desserts. Voilà, I'm going to blitz it to make it like a mash. As much as I can here. Okay, then after I'm going to sieve it to remove the fiber. Voilà, I don't want to get too much fiber, so I'm going to sieve it. It's a very easy recipe, but very tasty. You will see a lot of flavor coming out from this dish. Okay. Do you make a rice pudding at home? Yes, yes. You already, yeah, with milk. Yeah.
But not like this. You make
So
different style.
different style.
Yeah.
But do you cook your rice pudding with fruit or Just basically milk, coconut milk, or
Just with rice.
Yes.
Milk and
voilà, et éventuellement au caramel sauce, éventuellement, non, ok, d'accord, ok. Voilà, everybody got his, probably his own recipe for pudding. You will try this one, it's different, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Okay, nice mash, difficult to get much better. Voilà, now I'm going to sieve it, to remove the fiber. I don't want to get too much fiber in this confit. Yep. Okay. Beautiful color. Okay, so after sieving this, I'm gonna get a paste actually, and I can adjust the texture of this paste with my the remaining of the sauce, the remaining of the juice here eventually. Just I want something which is easy pipeable, so just something which hold the texture when I pipe for the presentation today. Okay. And like I said, after sieving, you remove a lot of fiber, so you don't have too much. That's why it's good to organize a big amount. Okay, so I need to do basically the same technique. I mean, I need to cook the beetroot, the baby beetroot later with the same technique. So I need to make a syrup, which is basically the same syrup as a fennel confit. If you look at the beetroot, glazed baby beetroot, I need to prepare the same syrup, except there will be no fennel infused inside, but it's going to be the same recipe syrup. And I'm going to cook the baby beetroot into this syrup too. Okay. Voilà, difficult to get much more juice from this. So, voilà, that's my gel, 4 liters. Okay. I'm going to keep this in the fridge. And like I said, we are going to make the baby beetroot. Just keep a little juice. For the baby beetroot, it's the same. Like I said, same syrup, okay? And just the preparation of the beetroot, we need to peel off the beetroot, okay? So you got your baby beetroot here, you wash your baby beetroot. Okay. You trim, you remove the leaf. Alors, it's possible to eat everything, actually, even the leaf. But today, I'm not using the leaf. I'm going to remove the small tail here. Then after, you have to peel them. You have to peel them off. Remove the skin. Okay, so to remove the skin, I'm using the pointed part of my knife. I'm gonna basically make a line into the with the pointed part of my knife into the beetroot. Not too deep. I just want to remove, to peel off the skin, and you peel off the skin little by little. Alors, why baby beetroot? Because also we want to have mini pieces for decoration for this plated dessert. So it's much more practical and convenient for me to have a baby beetroot for presentation. So ideally, I don't want to damage the shape of my baby beetroot today. Okay, so just try to keep something nicely rounded. Okay, and after, we need to cook the baby beetroot into the syrup. Same technique as the fennel. Oh, I did not take gloves. Yes, I should take gloves. Forgot. Gloves. Voilà, because you're gonna get your hand very red. So usually I take gloves. Just go to one, so I'm gonna be okay. But I recommend you to take gloves for this. Eventually a nice apron too, because yes, it can be very very quickly messy with the beetroot. Okay, so here, finish. Peel it off nicely, no skin. Okay, and you cook your beetroot like this. You can cut them in half. Okay, and you cook it. Same technique as fennel with a cartouche on the top. A cartouche is a French word, cartouche. Voilà, so the pepper, a piece of pepper on the top, and you leave it like this. To cook for, it takes time, 20 minutes maybe approximately, steaming, okay, no boiling, just a slow cooking until it's soft and tender. And eventually, after cooking, you get your beetroot here. Remove the cartouche. I got already red finger. Yes. This. Nicely soft. Yeah, no problem. Now we are going to glaze them. So to glaze them, we are going to make a reduction of this syrup. So basically, we are going to increase the stove until the syrup gets thicker and thick enough to make a thick syrup to coat nicely your beetroot. Okay, it's a glazing process. Gonna give a shine to your beetroot for presentation. It's a reduction of the sauce. So here, basically, you're gonna increase the stove, not at the maximum, but quite strong. You need to see it boiling. It's gonna be a quick process. Glazing. Then after, you keep half of your beetroot, which is gonna go inside the rice. So you are going to chop half of your beetroot approximately, and to add it into your rice. And the other half will be for decoration. Easy. Any question? No? No?
Chef, can I ask
Oui.
you, the stock syrups, compared
Yes.
with the stock syrup I'm used to using, it's not got much sugar in it compared with water. Is that the standard you normally use in vegan?
Alors, it's a sweet dessert, so
Yeah.
that's why we have a little bit sweetness into the syrup. But
Normally I'd have more sugar than
but after you are saying no sugar at all in the recipe?
No.
No.
a normal stock syrup that I would use would have a lot more
It's
sugar.
possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Which you normally just use. I mean, this is what 220 water.
Yeah,
40 grams
yes,
sugar.
yes.
That's your standard.
After, it's a light syrup. It's not
Yeah.
too strong syrup. You are not making a confit. I mean, a confit, or what I call a confit, that means you don't want to add too much sweetness into the recipe too. So it's a light syrup, just enough to bring enough sweetness into the dish. So the quantity is, I would say it's correct the quantity. After, of course, it depends of your taste, and it can be adjusted depending of your taste. And eventually, you can add a little bit more sugar or less. But you will see today, it's quite accurate. Of course, it's possible to play with the amount of sugar. Yes. Did I answer your question? Not
I was
exactly.
just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of
So-
the benefits of using
Yeah.
the baby beetroots and the baby fennel is they're much sweeter than the aged.
They're already sweet. Yeah.
So you're going to see, and also we've got the puffed rice, which is quite sweet as well. So it balances.
I guess you're getting the flavoured vegetables through as well.
We
Yeah.
reduced it a
Not
lot.
masked.
When we first started it, we normally use a simple syrup, which is equal water and sugar.
Yeah.
It's just so sweet, so sweet. So we just cut it back as much as we could, trying to make it a little bit fresher and a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And it's a good balance, but you do have to alter it depending on the seasonality with your veg.
But it can be adjusted, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, as you see, good boiling for the glazing. So just make it thick to cut nicely your beetroot. A bit more. Okay, so we got the coffee ready. The rice, let's say it's ready. You understood the process of the rice. The beetroot nearly there, a little bit more. And next part is the crunchy part of this recipe. I mean, we got the beetroot, a little bit crunchy, but there will be puff rice into this recipe too. So I'm gonna make puff rice. So the puff rice, we are going to coat basically the puff rice with sugar and fat, just enough quantity of fat and sugar to make the rice sticking well together. I want the rice to be attached together for the presentation today. A bit more. So for this, you need an oven already at, let's say, 170 degrees for this oven to bake your puff rice. And you need to melt your sugar, so your palm sugar today. Okay, so you got the palm sugar. Chopped a little bit the palm sugar because the palm sugar was in big pieces like this, so you chop it to make sure it dissolves faster. So you start to dissolve your palm sugar. When it's dissolved, we are going to add the coconut oil into it. You will see that the coconut will not merge very well with the sugar. But basically, what I need is enough quantity of fat to coat the puff. But it's normal during the process. The fat and sugar they will not merge together perfectly. But that's not a problem at all for the recipe. The puff rice. Okay, and I'm starting to melt slowly the cane sugar. Nearly there. But very, very liquid, very runny, a little bit more. Okay. And here I'm dissolving slowly the cane sugar. I need a mat, a silicone mat, just to spread out. Can be okay with paper, but voilà, it's much more convenient with a mat. First, it's not moving into my ventilated, my convection oven. I'm adding a little fat on the steel pad too on the mat just to make sure the puff doesn't stick to the mat. But that's for later, to spread out the puff rice on a baking mat. Then after to bake it at 170 degrees, just to get a light coloration and enough crunchiness for the service. Okay, nearly there. No. Up. Oops. The palm sugar is difficult to dissolve very well. Huh? So you need to, it takes a little bit time, but do it slowly. Very slow stove. Okay. A little bit more, nearly there for the glazed beetroot. Just I'm looking for a thick syrup. Eventually I can take one beetroot like this, look at it, but I want the syrup to stay on it. If the syrup is too runny, it's covering, but you lose it very quickly. So a little bit more. Okay. Okay, and the can. You see, you get a lovely, lovely shine. I can do slightly more, very slightly more, to make sure it's staying on it. Okay, this part here, it's a small amount of sugar, just enough for the sweetness, just enough sugar to, when it cooks, to set, to stick together your puff rice, to merge them, to stick them together well. So just enough sugar. You don't want to bring too much sweetness again. There we go. Okay, that's nicely melted. Okay, so now I'm going to add the fat. Okay, the stove is still on for the moment, but it's low stove. Huh? It's not a strong heat. Here, just dissolve the fat. Like I said before previously, you are not going to get an emulsion with this. Huh? Just dissolve everything together. Okay, you add your puff rice. Mix well. At this, you can stop the stove here. Okay, make sure you cut nicely your puff rice. Okay, and there's a tiny amount, a little bit of brown sugar syrup into the recipe too, that you can add. Very tiny amount. Okay. Okay, so this you leave it on the mat, drop it on the mat. Alors the problem is, which it's not a big problem, but just need to make, you need to compact them, you need to attach the puff rice nicely together here. So maybe with glove. So it's a bit warm, but slowly. Just want to make sure it sticks well like this. Also, ideally, I don't want this to be too thick. It's on the top part of my presentation today. I want to be able to cut nicely with a spoon. I should not struggle to cut this, just to give me crunchiness. It needs to be easy for your customer to break it, so you make it flat as much as you can. Okay, I'm going to bake this at 170 degrees during, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes, just to get a little bit more color, just a little light color, okay? And then after, eventually, I can cut this puffed rice. I can shape it, okay? It's not so easy to shape because when you cut, you will notice that the shape is can be changed, but it's possible. We'll do it. Okay, 170 degrees. Here, I stop a little bit the process of the glazing, but I can do slightly more. Slightly more. So for the size today, I decided to go for a small plate. Can be bigger, can be smaller. Today I decided to go for a small ring, which is a 5 or 6 cm diameter ring, just to fit my plate today. But the size for the assembly, for the puff rice and the beetroot rice later. Oh, easy? No? Huh? Yeah.
Chef, are there any other fats you use other than coconut oil?
Fat?
Yeah, because that's in vegan cookery, that's often what's people perceive as missing. There's no that mouthfeel of fat.
Yeah.
Not everyone likes coconut oil.
Cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denatured cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter is also good.
It's the night.
Very
Well,
healthy fat too, yeah.
yeah, it's the most expensive, but it is
Yeah.
one of the higher quality fats that has a good melting point as well, and it's got that mouthfeel. That's why chocolate tastes so good.
After the cocoa butter, usually you don't bake it too much. You try to avoid to go too high in temperature, the cocoa butter. But it's a very useful fat. It's very healthy fat, yes. Okay, allez, I'm going to remove my glazed beetroot. The puff rice is going to be okay soon.
That's why. Oh, that's loud. Don't really need that, do I?
Sorry.
Just while Chef's getting himself ready for the next stage, as part of the program, we cover. I'm a great believer in if you are going to eat something, you should know what's in it, and you should be happy about what's in it. Unfortunately, out in the world, a lot of companies are making a lot of money off of people who follow a plant-based diet. And when you look at the ingredient list, if there's ingredients that you don't actually know what they do, you shouldn't really be eating it. So our premise on this program is that we're going to show you how to make butter, how to make a plant-based butter substitute. We're going to show you how to make a hard fat that can be used for making puff pastry. We're going to show you how to make your own creams. I'm not saying we're going to do it in every lesson, but we will show you how to do it so you understand the premise of making something that's much more natural and is much cleaner. Clean eating is a massive trend, and it's something that we all should be aware of. Unfortunately, industry being what it is, they've jumped on the plant-based bandwagon, and they're rolling out all kinds of nasties that, you know, my son was plant-based for a long time, and I had to find an alternative because I wasn't comfortable giving him margarine or giving him a so-called alternative that really was not tested long-term. So plant-based, gluten-free, all of these diets which have been, you know, pushed in the back for so long, the consumer now demands that it's being brought to the front. We want a good quality product that's affordable, that isn't full of cheap, nasty ingredients, but it's not cost effective. So we're going to show you both sides of the coin. And then when you leave us, you can choose which you implement into your restaurant or into your business or into your family. But we're going to show you how to do that. Sorry, Chef.
Okay. Perfecto timing, just cook.
Of course.
As usual, chef.
I was watching the
Perfect.
clock. I can't see the clock from here without being on. Oh, yeah.
Voilà, just enough to melt again your sugar and to make sure it sticks well. You get a little bit more coloration too. And then after you cut, alors you cut, like I said, you can cut bigger, smaller, but voilà. But when you cut, you obviously you're gonna change a little bit the shape. It's normal, it's natural, I would say. So just you need to readjust a little bit the size like this after cutting. Eventually, you add a little bit fat on your cutter. Here we go, like this. So let's say I'm gonna go for a small one today. But voilà, you do it. Yeah, I mean quickly, because as soon as it gets cold, it's gonna be difficult it's gonna break. It's gonna be difficult to shape. But basically, like this, and you try to not make it too thick. Okay, like this. Okay. So then after we cool it down. And next, so next for the confit, the Fennel confit, we are going to add a few non-cooked, I mean raw Fennel inside, so chopped raw Fennel inside into the confit. You remember the confit, my little confit here. I'm going to add. So in the recipe, it said exactly. Blah, 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 blah. Wait, it said for the baby Fennel. So 6 baby Fennel. So let's say one. If you follow the recipe, 6 baby Fennel, which make 135 grams. And the recipe said to keep 6 grams. Voilà. Once again, it's a pâtisserie recipe, so it's very precise. 6 grams of Fennel, raw Fennel, chopped dice finely. So you keep 6 grams raw that you can chop very finely. Let's say 2 millimeters. So for this program, you don't need to have, let's say, experience in pastry. You can. It's open to everybody, and you're going to learn basically the essential technique. So even if you are not confident at cutting or piping or all the classic technique, you are going to learn it through the course.
So one of the courses that led us to this point, during lockdown, before lockdown, actually, a lot of our students were saying to us that we only just touched plant-based pastry and, gluten-free pastry, baking and those kind of things. We didn't really do them in any great depth. And to be fair, my son was he was vegan. He was on a completely dairy-free diet until he was about 8. So I was quite familiar with doing dairy-free desserts. I didn't find it that much of a problem. I mean, didn't get a lot of cakes, I have to say, because they kind of scared me. I wasn't really comfortable doing those, but I worked around it and I found a few recipes that worked. So as part of our feedback from our students was that they really wanted to know more about plant-based diets, how to eliminate dairy from diets. A lot of our students come from countries where having a high dairy content is just not done. It's not in their remit. It's not something that they ingest a lot of. So coming to Europe and being surrounded by butter, which unfortunately classic French food has a lot of butter. Okay, it was a little bit alien to them. So they wanted something lighter and they wanted an alternative.
Mm.
So we developed a program, but it was designed for the online market only. And we've been running that now since we came back after lockdown. It's very successful. We have loads of students. It's a little bit scary because they're working at home. They have a video, so they watch videos of us cooking a dish. They get the recipes, they go shopping, they bring the products, they'll cook along with the video. They have to show photographs and evidence. They do a report each week, and then we do a live learning with them each week. So we do a live session online, answering their questions, giving them feedback, covering lecture material. And it's great, but it's so hard not to be right there and go, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So we developed from that. The students were like, can we come and do this with you? And it's like, no, sorry, we don't really do a program like that. But, it's something we could look at in the future. Over the last year or so, people have been absolutely inundating us with requests to do plant-based pastry, where they want to do the pastry program, but they really are not happy about using animal products. So we developed this alongside our classic cycle, which, yes, it uses a lot of butter, and yes, it uses a lot of cream. But we wanted, in my head, in my mind, and certainly I know Chef John backs me up on this, being plant-based should not be a reason not to have good patisserie. It shouldn't. There should be no bar because you're following a plant-based diet. So what we found is that when we researched, we found a lot of people were going and looking at dishes, but not really looking at the technique behind it. And Cordon Bleu is all about technique. We teach the technique so you can go away and formulate your own recipes and come up with your own ideas and develop your technique from there. We give you the basics and then we allow you to run with it. So the program is developed around techniques, the classical French techniques. Yes, you'll make croissant. Yes, you'll make puff pastry. Yes, you will make baguettes. Okay, but they will be plant-based, and it will be a good standard of plant-based. We're not making excuses for plant-based patisserie. That's gone. Okay, our benchmark is high. We expect our students to achieve a benchmark which is a good standard and something you can be proud of and go, that's a Cordon Bleu plant-based dish. Not it's plant-based, it's okay, it doesn't look great. No, we don't do that here. We have tested the recipes multiple times. We want to make sure they work. And we want our students to actually be the front runners. We want them to be the front runners in plant-based patisserie. They should be the ones that everyone's looking at going, wow, how did you do that?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of involvement and a lot of effort. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait. Okay, so I did chop finally the raw fennel, add it into the confit. You remember the confit we've done at the beginning, okay? So that's for later. I also need to chop the baby beetroot, okay? So for the to add into the rice, okay? So I'm gonna chop finally my baby beetroot. Here we go. You keep at least 3 nice baby beetroot for the decoration. So, for example, I got this tiny one. It's also possible to cut in half, no problem. But voilà, I've got 3 small ones, very pretty here. I'm gonna keep them for the decor, for my on my plated dessert. There we go. Okay. Okay, so then after you combine your beetroot with the rice, with the puff rice, not the puff rice, sorry, with the your pudding rice, cream the rice, to be precise. So it's a dish easy to make at home. Huh? There's no special equipment actually, or something very mandatory as equipment. Maybe it's just a hand blender, but easy, accessible for everybody at home. Okay.
Chef's being smart about cutting that on a metal tray.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stain his chopping board.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Don't know why I took the metal tray today.
Oh, I was trying to help you out there.
Huh?
Sorry. I thought you were planning ahead. Sorry.
No,
use the plate,
no,
that would
just
be
because because the beetroot are very. I mean, the color. I didn't want to put too much color on the tray. But of course, it can be done on chopping board. Okay. Okay, we are going to combine the rice. Beautiful color. With beetroot. So I'm gonna make just enough for the testing today here. You have the right quantity. Huh? If you want to be a bit more precise about quantity, you have the right quantity on a recipe. There we go. You would combine the cooked beetroot with the rice. Okay. Okay, and we are ready. So I'm going to add my my small gel into a piping bag.
So, chef, the
Oui.
creamed rice, is that served hot or cold? Or
Alors, it can be both, but that depends on your preference actually. But it can be both. It can be hot. It can also be cold. My preference is a little bit warm, but after, yeah, it can be also cold. Okay, and the puff rice on top. There we go. Okay, so just we are going to shape the rice at the bottom here. So let's say approximately 1 cm thick, okay? Approximately. I try to make it flat and even. There's a top rice on the top, the top of rice on the top. So, but try to make it flat. You remove your ring. You add your puff rice on the top. Go. Like this. Then after we got the gel, which is in a piping bag. So I'm going to add the gel, make a circular shape on the outside part of the puffed rice. Up. Okay, and after we had few green for the deco. The beetroot on the side. So let's say I'm gonna cut in half my beetroot here. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to show the glazed part on the top. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And in between, we are going to add a few leaves, a bit green. Just now today it's a small version. You can imagine also to make it much bigger with a 12 cm ring. Quite possible. I decided to go for a mini version today. But if you want to be more indulgent, you can add a little bit more, make it a little bit bigger. Well, a few petals, just a few petals. And we fit the green in between here. Let's see like this. Let's see. Tac. Sorry. It's a little. It's not a problem of skills. It's a problem of glasses. You know.
Do you want to borrow mine?
Yeah, maybe I need. Recently I noticed I need glasses. So I'm still shy to take glasses. I'm still too young for glasses. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Recently I noticed. Voilà, so just you harmonize with color on top. Like this. Yeah, that's fine. That's enough, huh? It's enough green. Attractive. Yeah. Okay. That's it. I'm on time. 30 minutes? 40 minutes? No? Voila. It's tiny, it's small, it's pretty. It can be bigger. It can be, you can play around. That's just a quick insight about mini demo today. Voilà. So you notice I did a little bit preparation, but after just cooking, a little bit time consuming. Voilà, you can, of course, at school you will do everything on time. Usually practical is 2 hours and a half. There will be a demo like today, demo practical, then you reproduce the dish that you've seen in demonstration. There's also lecture and also some workshop, and there will be some chef guests also coming eventually during this program on special technique eventually. Okay.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Shall we give a round of applause to Chef Jean-Francois? We will have a chance to take a picture of the dish later. All right. So I would like to invite Chef Julie. Chef, can I have your mic, Chef?
Yes.
So what we'll do is we have Chef Jemima plating up the tasting dish, so everyone will have a little taste of that delicious desserts. So what we're going to do, we're still running the live stream. So if you have anyone who would like to ask a question to Chef Julie, so I'm going to pass the mic to you. So at least we can also we have some questions online as well. Any questions? Yes.
Hi. Will you be doing choux pastry? Will you be teaching choux?
Yes, we're attempting choux pastry. No, we are. We've got a recipe that works, and we're just trying to work out what we can do with it. It's not choux pastry is one of the most complicated things to work with. Okay, even if you are fully into eggs and milk and everything else, choux pastry is always tricky. Okay, it's about getting the expansion in the oven. It's about getting the protein content in there as well, and getting the stability within the batter. So we have a recipe that works. It's not as poofy as a classic choux pastry, but it's a decent alternative. So yes, we will. Just need to. We'll be making a product with it. We're not sure yet. Maybe not eclairs, but it will be something along. It will be a classical choux bun of some description.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you please tell us a bit more about the content of this course and also the time frame? For example, it says like it's 3 days. 3 days means you come here in the morning and finish it like, for example, what time?
No. Well, okay. So the program is it's a classical full-time program. Well, we call it a full-time program, but it's not every day of the week. Okay. The schedule is based on 5 days a week usually.
So the program itself, we have 22 hours of classes in the school, and we also have on top of that 16 hours of online learning as well, self-directed learning. Classes will be held because it's a 3-month program for the Diploma in Plant-Based Pâtisserie. Program was, your scheduling will be given to you on your orientation day. So it's a full-time program. Classes will be held from Monday till Saturday. Sunday and UK public holidays will be off. So basically, each lesson can be comprised of workshops like the demonstrations. You will see a chef doing demonstration for 3 hours. Then after that, you will go to a practical kitchen. We take a maximum of 16 students in the kitchen. So you might have a class of 50 students seeing a demonstration like this. Then we will split you up into a group of 16 maximum to recreate the dish that you've seen with the chef. That will be another 3 hours. On top of that, you also have theory lessons as well, another 3 hours as well. In a day, we have 4 blocks of 3 hours. So the first block that we have is from 8 to 11. The second block will be 11:30 to 2:30. The third block will be 3 to 6, and the last block will be from 6:30 to 9:30. Your block can be any of these blocks, basically. Every week will be different. So when you come for orientation day, we'll give you the timetable for the first 3 months of your course for the pastry program. Each week will be different. So Monday, you might have 6 hours of 2 blocks from 8 to 11, 11:30 to 2:30. Tuesday, you might have a block of 9 hours, it depends. Wednesday, you might have a day off probably. Or Thursday, you might have 1 block in the morning. The second block have a gap and you come back 6 hours or 3 hours in the afternoon. All right. So what happens is in the school itself, we do have 3 cuisine kitchen and 2 pastry kitchen. If any one of you later wish to have a look at the kitchen. because the pastry program, you only do pastry program in the pastry demonstration, pastry room, practical kitchen. We take a maximum on at 16. So if we have 2 classes, it will be 32. So let's say we have 50 students. We want to make sure that every 50 of you have a chance to go to the kitchen to recreate the dish that you've seen the chef have made before all of you will be sitting down again to create another dish, to look for another dish, basically. All right. And on top of that, you also have self-directed learning, as Chef Julie had mentioned earlier. So you'll be given a lot of information to do online learning as well. A lot of ingredients about the chemistry part of the ingredients. You will have some assignments for you to do as well. And also you do have some research as well, I believe, as well. Chef, your mic.
Yeah, so there is, the final exam is a research project, okay? So you do a practical exam and then you have a research project to submit, which is your theory part of the course, to show that you've been able to research and to actually put your thoughts into a document. As Freddie was saying, he was absolutely right when he said there's the 4 sessions per day. You won't do 4 sessions in a day, don't panic. The majority of our students will only do ever 3. But it could be that you're not in school until 11:30, but you're here till 9. We tend to be as kind to the students as possible because we want you to come back in the morning and not oversleep. So we tend to try not to give you the late shift and then early the next day. Sometimes it's unavoidable because there's a bank holiday, for example. So we have to make use of all of our kitchens all the time. You generally will not have 6 days per week, okay? If you do, the next week, it's very unlikely. Normally, you will have a day off somewhere in the week if you're in on the Saturday. It is intensive. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to learn, okay? But it's manageable, okay? But it's one of those things. If you have a very busy social life or you have a big family or you work full time, it's perhaps not the right time, okay? You really need to be able to focus on what we're teaching you. You asked about content, so I've got my cheat sheet here because there's so much I can't remember. The first module is broken down. So our first accredited header is plant-based patisserie essentials. So we'll learn everything from knife skills to how to create those alternative dairy products like the butters, the milks, for example. We'll work with nuts in plant-based products. And we'll look at the use of fats and oils in pastry. Within the first section, you'll have some lectures on the alternative milk products. You'll also have lectures on health, safety, and your level 2 food hygiene. Then we move on to our bread and viennoiserie, and you're going to spend 5 classes on that, so it's a full week, okay? There's also a 6-hour workshop in there, so you get to do some of the more advanced doughs that require longer to prove. Okay, then we're looking at, again, classical pastry headers. So we're looking at petit fours. So within that, we're going to do plant-based macaron. We'll be doing some sablé cookies. We'll be doing some soft cake cookies, so the moelleux, which is very classical French. And we'll have a little display that we make each day in the practical session. So you'll present that to the chef for grading. Then we move forward from petit fours into our chocolate and confectionery. So the chocolate and confectionery will be over 2 weeks generally, and we'll work on everything from reduced sugar plant-based confectionery items. Okay. So things like fudges and pâte de fouilles. Then we'll look at chocolate work. So we're making some bonbons, some lollies, some slabs. And then finally, you'll be making some more advanced shapes and techniques. There's a lecture in that one as well. So you've got chocolate production and the use of cocoa butter. So that's one of our additional lectures. Then we go on to our pastry fundamentals. This is dealing with all the dough products. So in our bread and viennoiserie, we'll look at the croissant, for example. In this one, we're looking at pastry tart shells. We're looking at puff pastry. We're going to do a couple of items with puff pastry over 2 days. One is a millefeuille. The other one will be palmiers and apple turnovers. Then we look at the choux pastry. So we'll have one of our products producing a choux bun with fillings. And then the lecture that week is the function of fats in patisserie. Okay, then we move on and we're going to classical desserts. So here we have things like souffles. We have other classical desserts, which some which are a little bit more in depth. So we've got similar to this one here, where we're using vegetables within the patisserie. We've got the use of tofu and bean pastes. We have plant-based desserts and we have vegetable-based desserts. So plant-based desserts, that's not right. So it's vegetable plant-based desserts, that's right. And then we have a day where we're making ice creams. That's a 6-hour workshop. So again, dairy-free ice creams and sorbets and products made with them. So we'll do things like snack bars and filled cookies, things like that with ice cream sandwiches. And then finally, we're looking at our lecture is gelling agents. So we will cover this throughout, but in this final class, we'll talk about how we can use gelling agents and how you adapt them to get different textures and mouthfeels. The final culmination, I guess, of the program is looking at our traditional, modern entremets. Okay, so there's a lot of plated desserts in here. There's the entremets. There are 3 final entremets that you'll make. And these are multi-layered, complex flavor profile desserts. And then obviously with that, you've also got a lot of lecture material. There's, pretty much every one of those headers has at least one online session.
So I hope Chef Julie have explained all the whole syllabus of the whole program, basically. Thank you, Chef Julie. Any other questions? Any other questions?
My question is, I'm not from England, I'm from Africa, Nigeria. And if I'm going to take what I've learned here in class, if I'm going to apply them in my country, like for example, the ingredients used here for the palm sugar is not something I've seen in Nigeria. So are we going to explore ingredients from other regions, other parts of the world, or are we going to be taught substitutes of these ingredients
Exactly.
in different areas?
We will, because we find it difficult to get those ingredients delivered to the UK, we will look at substitution, which is the way we run our online program. When we do one of the online cohorts, we have students from all over the world. I had a student in Ukraine who was in the middle of the bombing. that was the poor woman. Every week was she was like, I'm going to try and stay online as long as I can. I'm not sure I'm going to get this done this week. We have people in Iceland. We've got people all over the world, and we cover the substitutes in a lot of detail because it's really important. Believe me, it's been a real eye-opener having those online students because they are so adaptive. You have these questions which are just mind blowing. It's like, I don't have soft flour or plain flour. I'm like, okay, what flour do you have? Okay, well, we have wheat flour and it's at 21% protein. What do I do? And it's like, okay, we need to cut it with something that's too strong. Protein's too strong. We need to put something in it like rice flour. So we came up with a recipe that she could use in place of plain flour that we go to Tesco's and buy. So it's about adaptation and knowing the ingredient and the function. And that's what we're going to teach you.
Thank you, Chef Julie. Any other questions from the floor?
How is it?
Yep, bear with me. How's the dessert?
Good.
Is there anything on the program more on the business orientation, meal planning, that sort of side of it that you might otherwise be in, like your Cordon Diploma, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, not so much the business planning, to be honest. We do have an additional course, which is the DCM program. We don't really touch it that much, but there's lots of people within the school that you can discuss things like that with. If you have ideas or you have questions, we have all of our higher education lecturers who are in the school, and they're more than happy to talk to you about things.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like the menu planning, buying things in, how long things last.
I mean, we will cover ingredients and we'll cover the shelf life and the storage and what best is the time of year to order this versus something else, for example. It's not an in-depth. We don't go into in-depth. I don't want to lie to you. It's not a business degree. It's not a business program, but we are happy to talk to you about it. That's what I can offer you. Any updates on that?
Well,
Because what happens is our new plant-based program that we have split up into two different programs that we have here, like the cuisine and the pastry. So students have a choice to do either the cuisine or pastry or both, basically. So at the moment, we are talking to the directors in a way that if students who join the both program, they're able to do the diploma in culinary management. Because at the moment, the diploma in culinary management, you need to join the program, the grand diploma program, or diploma in patisserie, or diploma in cuisine at the moment. So at the moment, because it's a new program that we just installed for the cuisine one starting in September. So we're in talks. Hopefully, if happens, students who join both program, diploma in plant-based in cuisine and pastry, we might offer the diploma in culinary management, basically. But we are still in talks because it's our new program right now. So at the moment, hopefully, early next year, hopefully that the decision can be made. Yes, that's right.
One thing we will be doing is bringing in guest chefs. So we have a couple of opportunities to bring in experts in the field to talk about these new ingredients and seasonality and how they use them in their businesses. So that's yet to be decided who that's going to be, but we're not going to give you just any old person off the street. Don't worry, we'll get you some.
Answer your question as well. All right, bear with me.
So to take this course, do we have to apply for a student visa or visit visa is fine?
Your area, Freddie.
So if you're a holder, if you don't have a right to stay in the UK, like you are a tourist, or you don't have the right to status to stay in the UK, this program doesn't qualify a student visa. A student visa is only program that is 9 months or above, like our main program, the grand diploma, a diploma in patisserie, or diploma in cuisine, with the additional advanced studies, whether you want to join 12 months with the diploma in culinary management or with the internship pathway. The program that we have here, diploma in plant-based, is maximum, if you do both program, is a maximum of 6 months. So 6 months you will come in, if you're a holder of an international passport, you come in on a standard visitor visa. Depending on which countries you come from, we do the UK visa immigration have put into different segments, whether you are a non-visa nationals or you visa nationals, basically. So visa nationals, you need to have a stamp in your passport before you enter the United Kingdom, or if you are non-visa nationals, if you're US citizens or Canada or Australia, you will go through the e-gates, basically, that you don't need to go through the immigration. But of course, you cannot stay in the UK more than 6 months. I hope I do understand. Yeah. So hopefully, if happens that in about 1 year or 2 years' time, we extend the program that it will qualify to get a student visa from the UK visa immigration. You never know, basically. But at the moment, if you're an international passport, you'll come in on a standard visitor visa. I hope I do. Yeah. Any other questions on the floor? Yes, bear with me.
Will you be continuing the online program as well, or is it? Oh, you are. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, the online program, we offer help, but it doesn't replace having a class with a chef right there. And that's the feedback from the online classes, is that, it's great, but we make a lot of mistakes and it's very costly. If you make a mistake at home, you're going to have to go and buy the ingredients again. Here, all of that's covered. So yeah, it's a different course, but it's interesting if you're not in a position to sign up for the whole 3 months.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one more question? What would be the job opportunities after finishing this course? For example, cafes or restaurant, do you come to and ask for newly graduate chef for job opportunities?
We have this equates to between our basic and intermediate level. Okay, this is where we're pitching it. So we're giving you the basics to start you off. We're giving you the knife skills, the food hygiene. But then by the time you finish, you're at that level that you should be able to walk into a job as an assistant or a commis chef and at least hold your own with our grand diploma students at an intermediate level.
But you got to understand,
It's all about you.
The techniques are on the plant-based techniques.
Yes.
All right, you are not learning to do butchering or filleting or etc. So whatever you learn will be on the techniques on the plant-based. All right, and also students who graduate with us, we will put you on a list, like a LinkedIn for chefs. We call it HOSCO, HOSCO. We do, when you complete your program, we will put you on this program called the HOSCO program. Basically that you can put your CV or your, whether you're looking for a job or something online on this HOSCO program. Then we do have students who are graduates, alumni all around the world, basically. It can be in the UK, sometimes can be Australia, basically, but they were looking for alumni from Le Cordon Bleu. So in a way, it's a platform, it's like LinkedIn platform, basically, for chefs. All right, but you need to graduate from us before we put you in. All right, so this kind of support in a way that, let's say, yes, that's right. So that kind of platform in a way that if somebody get you from HOSCO, we put your CV, make sure that if there's an alumnus who try to employ you, they know that you go through a vigorous program with any Le Cordon Bleu, not just in London, all around the world, basically. All right. I hope you do understand. All right. Okay.
Would you be classified as a plant-based chef after doing this course? Yes. What would you be called?
Plant-based pastry chef.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking.
Yeah, I've got plenty of our graduates from the Grand Diploma who, and in fact, one of them went for a job interview about 2 weeks ago and came to me and she said, "Is it stretching the imagination too much to say that I'm a plant-based pastry chef?" And I said, "Yes, it is. I have just the course." So she'd specifically gone out to a restaurant and they were like, "Okay, how much plant-based do you know? Have you done any?" And she was like, "Well, I've done 2 dishes." Does that count? They said, "Well, we'd really look for someone who can," they wanted to have a very strong plant-based chef on their staff because nobody else had it. But she wasn't quite there. I did offer it out to our graduates from the plant-based program, but I hope they found somebody.
Yeah, bear with me.
Do we have to do like a grand diploma to be put on the HOSCO program, or does it can be any diploma?
Just a single.
Okay.
So just doing this alone is enough to get on there.
Yeah, any program that 3 months of diploma in plant-based or grand diploma or diploma in pâtisserie or cuisine, basically. But you need to pass your exams. Pass your exam and get your diploma. Yes. Then our what they call that internship pathway department will have your details. Then we will put you into the program, the HOSCO program, like a LinkedIn, basically online. Yes.
Okay. What's the pass rate?
Well, we haven't run it yet. I'll let you know. I mean, our objective is not to fail students. We want people to pass, but we also don't want to send somebody out with a diploma that isn't ready. So, there is always a chance of not passing, but there is also a lot of support to get you through the exam and get you ready for the exam. So the chefs take their mentoring very seriously. I've literally been on the email tonight with students that they've got their exam coming up next week. So we take it seriously. We want you to pass. Okay, but you have to be dedicated to this. That's what I was saying about, if you have a busy social life or you work, you need to really look at how this is going to work around your schedule, because there is work you need to do. There's self-guided study. You need to put that in on a weekly basis. You need to make sure you're read up on the next week's work so you know what's coming and you're familiar with it. The more you put in, the more you get out.
Any other questions? All right, if you don't have any questions, if you want some water, we have some water down here. I'm going to do a tour. You're welcome to take a picture of the dish. I'm going to do a tour of the school, if somebody would like to say. I know some of you I've seen you around, so I'm sure that if you want to do the tour again, please, you're welcome to. If not, please go to the ground floor and our customer service will let you go from the gates. Should we give a round of applause to Chef Julie and Chef Jean-Francois for a lovely pastry plant-based program? But of course, on the other hand, if you like to do a tour personally with us, ask any questions, I will drop you an email tomorrow, basically. All right? All right, thank you. Thank you, Chef.